By the time people saw Viking ships on the horizon, it was already too late. No warning, no mercy, just sails, getting closer. Entire villages abandoned their homes before the Vikings even landed. But what actually made them so terrifying? Was it the violence, or something much deeper? The first reason was simple. They came from places no one expected. Before the Vikings, most invasions happened by land. Armies marched for days or even weeks. People had time to prepare. They could build defences, hide their valuables, or simply run. The Vikings changed the rules. Their longships were fast, light, and incredibly versatile. They could cross the open sea, then sail straight up shallow rivers. A town that believed it was safely inland could suddenly find Viking warriors standing at its gates. There was almost no warning. One of the most famous attacks happened in the year 793. At the monastery of Lindisfarne in England, the monks were completely unprepared. The monastery was wealthy, poorly defended, and filled with valuable treasures. The raid shocked all of Europe. If even a holy place wasn't safe, then nowhere was. But surprise wasn't their only weapon. The Vikings also understood something every great military leader eventually learns. Fear is powerful. Stories spread of terrifying Viking warriors called Berserkers, men who charged into battle screaming, bit their shields, and fought in a trance-like fury. Some historians think they entered intense psychological states. Others believe later writers exaggerated the stories. No one knows for certain, but the effect was undeniable. If your enemy believed Vikings felt no fear and no pain, they were already at a disadvantage before the battle even began. A frightened army fights poorly. Sometimes, the reputation alone was enough to make people surrender. Then came the violence. Viking raids were designed to be remembered. Buildings were burned. Wealth was taken. Anyone who survived carried the story to the next town. Fear spread much faster than ships ever could. You've probably heard of the Blood Eagle, a gruesome execution where a victim's ribs were supposedly cut open to resemble wings. Historians still debate whether it actually happened, or whether it became a legendary story over time. But in many ways, it didn't matter. The legend itself frightened people, and fear can be just as effective as reality. But here's the part most people never hear. Most Vikings weren't raiders. They were ordinary farmers, traders, craftsmen, families raising children. They established trade routes stretching across Europe, into the Middle East, and even reached North America centuries before Columbus. Many eventually settled peacefully, building towns instead of destroying them. History simply remembers the raids. Because terrifying stories survived longer than peaceful ones. The Vikings weren't feared just because they were violent. Many cultures throughout history were violent. The Vikings mastered something even more powerful: speed, surprise, psychology, and reputation. By the time their ships appeared on the horizon, the fear had already done half the fighting.